I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. Earth is history. And I mean history, because the current year is 40,000 something AD, and you are a regular human living your regular human life on your regular human planet, in the Centauri cluster, 15,000 light years from home. It's the Exodus role-playing game, inspired by the eagerly awaited upcoming video game, and now making its full official debut in game stores this August with the Renegade Games Studio's release of the first 2 books, The Traveler's Handbook and the Exodus Creature Catalog. These were previously available, but only in a limited run, so these new printings will be the first encounter with Exodus for many a player. And Renegade invited us here at Good Time Society to share just some of what you can expect when this game hits your friendly local game store, and then perhaps your table. In the Exodus RPG, players step into the stylish space boots of a traveler. A human recruited into a mysterious coalition, plucked from their backwater worlds and set free to seek their destiny among the stars. As a traveler, players will journey across the Centauri cluster, exploring, adventuring, and seeking to help their worlds back home survive. Each interstellar jump is a new Exodus, but there's a catch. During a trip that lasts days for a traveler, the worlds and friends they leave behind can move forward years or decades. That's time dilation, or as the Creature Catalog puts it, that's the price you pay for a life near light speed. Exodus aims to embrace this to tell stories that affect not just the moment to moment, but explore the effect of your actions across decades and generations. Going on a quick trip, you might come back to a natural disaster, an industrial revolution, or your spouse might adopt a new pet, which is my new favorite thing you can actually roll on a table in an RPG. So the consequences of your adventures may be complicated, but jumping in probably won't be. The Exodus RPG uses D&D 5.5e rules as a base, so it'll be a familiar system in a new universe. And all players should have to do is make a few key choices like their origin and their class, and get ready to take to the stars. But let's back up. What was that about the year 40,000 something? Okay, with apologies in advance to the storied roster of creative minds whose years of work I'm about to massively oversimplify, here's the short version. Back in the 23rd century, it became apparent that Earth was doomed. But you didn't give up. You built a whole bunch of big ol' arc ships. You sailed out to the stars in all directions in a massive exodus and looked for somewhere new to call home. And eventually, you found it. Omega Centauri, a cluster of 10 million stars, 15,000 light years from Earth, and home to an unusual bounty of potentially habitable worlds. Well, those first ships to arrive and settle in put out the word. They sent a green worlds signal across the galaxy to find the rest of the fleet and let them know humanity had a new home. Well, sort of. See, the people of your world are from one of the ships that got that call. They got the signal, turned around, and headed for the Centauri cluster, but space is really, really big. And even at speeds approaching the speed of light, it took a long, long time for the lost arc ships to start to arrive. Now, thanks to our friend time dilation, the people on board may only have experienced a few generations of life since leaving Earth. But the outside world is a different story. As waves of lost arc ships began arriving in the Centauri cluster to join the rest of humanity, they discovered that at this point, it's been a little while since the green world signal went out. It's been 25,000 years. And humanity has changed. Regular humans like you are now the underdogs, trying to scrape together a life in a cluster that has long since passed them by. In these star systems, even the ancient relics on abandoned worlds hold technological marvels beyond what you've imagined. But once again, you're not giving up, and one group of humans in particular is determined to seek out those relics, known as remnants, bring them home to be used, studied, or traded, and help their new homeworlds survive and even flourish in the Centauri cluster. They're called Travelers, and in the Exodus RPG, the players are their new recruits. Who were you before you were recruited? That is step 1, choosing your origin, the first of the player options we're looking at today. According to the Traveler's Handbook, your character's origin helps define who you are and what you do at the start of the game. Your origin, combined with your class, shapes how your character interacts with the world during adventures and defines your capabilities in combat. In other words, if you think of your traveler as a superhero and your class as the kinds of extraordinary abilities you're about to gain, your origin is who you were before you touched that mystical amulet or got that spider bite. There are 8 origins in Exodus, each providing a boost to your ability scores and several skill proficiencies. The Exodus skill list includes familiar options like athletics and persuasion, as well as additions like mechanics and streetwise. The origins are archaeologist, criminal, detective, grifter, hotshot, inventor, soldier, and spy. An archaeologist solves puzzles, unearths ancient mysteries, and deciphers the truth. Add +1 to your intelligence for everything you've learned, and +2 to your constitution for everything that you survived during the learning process. The archaeologist origin comes with proficiencies in history, insight, and a 3rd skill of your choice, along with some background on life as a relic hunter in the cluster, and an open question. Why do you do what you do? Knowledge? Power? Profit? If it's that last one, you may have something in common with our next origin. A criminal is skilled at striking from the shadows or talking their way out of trouble with the authorities. Bonuses to dexterity and strength will come in handy, as will your skills at deception and stealth. Or you could go the other way. A detective follows the clues and discerns when they are being lied to. Whatever your official profession may be, as a detective, you've spent your life finding out things others wanted hidden. Bonuses to your wisdom and dexterity will be helpful, as well as insight and perception. A grifter has the charm and bravado needed to extricate themselves from dangerous situations or to pull off the ultimate con. Deception and persuasion are your stock in trade, and this calls, of course, for a lot of charisma. But when that doesn't work out, you'll be grateful for your bonus to constitution. A hotshot is a skilled pilot with the street smarts to help find necessary vehicles or other equipment. And at this point, I am starting to feel bad for the detective, who is slightly outnumbered on this list, but that's the Centauri cluster for you. The hotshot has proficiency in piloting and streetwise, with dexterity and charisma bonuses helping them make a smooth getaway. An inventor repairs or builds almost anything. You know you'd have been wasted on Earth. Only here in the cluster can your mind truly get the workout it needs. Intelligence and wisdom are boosted for you, and your skill in electronics and mechanics will help you achieve your goals, whether those are noble visions of a better way of life, or some very dangerous ideas about blowing things up. A soldier has no peer on the battlefield, capable of surviving near-lethal engagements before patching themselves up to return to battle. Strength and dexterity, athletics and medicine. Though your character has faced many hardships, their needs in life have been fairly straightforward till now. Will the life of a traveler feel like freedom, or just chaos? And finally, a spy is capable of hacking valuable information systems or infiltrating an enemy's base of operations. Skill with deception and electronics will be required to take on that kind of job, and charisma and intelligence bonuses may help you get away with it. So that's who you are up until your adventure begins. And of course, your origin will continue to shape how you approach life and its challenges. But characters in Exodus also have some particular gifts that set them apart, and those are found in your class. The 4 classes in the Exodus role-playing game are cataphracts, who pilot powerful mech suits, daemons, who bond with mysterious beings to become living weapons, prodigies, whose rare gifts with technology let them wield extraordinary powers, and rangers, who travel the cluster with loyal, awakened animal companions. Each class offers benefits that unlock as you grow in power, and this progression is tracked through a twist on the classic level up known as your constellation level. While different chapters of the Travelers have varying philosophies and customs, one that unites them is the constellation. These elaborately designed genetic tattoos are inked into a traveler's skin upon initiation, and they're invisible until the wearer flexes their muscles in just the right way. This makes them ideal both as symbols of membership and as a way to carry vast amounts of knowledge. As they travel across the cluster, their constellations are constantly expanded to map out every star system visited. Constellation levels range from 1 to 10 and are gained in the course of play, granting various benefits naturally. But there's a catch. A traveler must make it back to their dynasty's headquarters or a similar location to receive their new ink or gain any of those benefits. So that's another good reason to try to make it home from your journeys. And on the other hand, it does buy some extra time for players who are so inclined to finish designing the look of their new tattoo. Let's look closer at the classes in the Exodus role-playing game, starting with the Cataphracts, whose operation of powerful mech suits makes them seen as the front line of defense for humankind against the many dangers of the Centauri cluster. A relatively fragile pilot becomes something much greater when a complex neural network interface connects them to their suit, allowing them to wield powerful weaponry and enhancements, and gaining improvements at higher levels, like additional heat venting, extra attack, and the evocatively named Level 7 feature, Fire Everything! At second level, Cataphracts choose one of two archetypes, Assault Mech or Scout Mech. Assault Mechs are built to deliver destruction. They have a higher armor class, more hit points, and more weapon slots. So it's lucky for them that they also have a few more heat sinks built in. Scout Mechs, on the other hand, prioritize versatility, making them ideal for exploration and infiltration. In a new or hostile environment, they're valuable both for their broad toolkit and their ability to hold up under fire. These mechs are faster and have more slots for installing certain remnants, the powerful celestial enhancements that can make them a sort of Swiss Army mech. And at Constellation Level 6, they gain a very useful new feature, a flight pack. Meanwhile, if you're watching this and you're anything like some of my techie friends, your ears pricked up as soon as I mentioned the heat sinks. Mech operation comes with its own set of rules, governing weaponry, damage and repairs, and of course, generating and dissipating heat. When heavy-duty weaponry movement or certain damage heats things up in a mech faster than it can be vented, heat points begin accumulating and will have detrimental effects on a mech and its pilot. The rallying cry of the next class, the Daemon, is simple. Don't take up a weapon, become one. A daemon is a human who chooses to bond with a mysterious being called a silicate. Whether they're ancient creations or alien parasites, no one knows. But for whatever reason, silicates will only bond with human hosts, ignoring celestials and other advanced species. This bond merges flesh and crystal into a composite being of tremendous power. Humans may be dismissed by the rest of the cluster, but daemons are feared. Like Cataphracts, all daemons get combat features like weapon mastery and extra attack, but their strangest qualities emerge with their daemon archetype, shadow or sword. A shadow daemon deals directly with the darker thoughts and alien impulses that come with their new form of life. Strengthened from the inside out, those who live with the shadow feel a presence constantly with them, like a wild dog on a fragile leash. Under threat, that presence can take over. The class feature Unleash the Shadow allows characters to briefly enter a state where they gain resistance to all damage, and if reduced to 0 hit points, will regain 10 hit points at the end of their next turn. Every time they come back this way, they gain a shadow point and risk losing control of their shadow. They must make a wisdom saving throw, with potentially deadly consequences. They do get a level 7 feature called Shadow Healing though, so that might help make up for their latest outburst. The other archetype option is the Sword Daemon. They wear their symbiont on their sleeve, or rather, their skin. Sword Daemons grow an exoskin over their entire body, a layer of clear crystalline fibers woven together in a living network. They don't have to choose to make that skin transparent, revealing organs and blood and looking really scary, but many do. More than a scary face though, this exoskin can provide incredible protection, and thanks to the kinetic armor feature, can harvest enemy strikes as energy points. They get stronger, tougher, deadlier, and, to add insult to injury, can release excess energy back at their opponents in a bright, painful flare. As they say, shoot at a sword daemon, and they run towards you faster. The next class may not be as tough as the daemon, but they're just as dangerous. The cluster is filled with powers and technology beyond human understanding, unless that human is a prodigy. A rare human with a gift for neural induction finds that advanced technology somehow speaks to them, especially the powerful pieces of lost celestial tech that all travelers search for, the remnants. While daemons find their possessive symbionts want nothing to do with remnants, and cataphracts can make use of only certain pieces that enhance their mechs, prodigies can bond directly to a wide array of remnants, and doing so grants them some formidable capabilities. Prodigies also choose an archetype, either Lancer or Shaper. The Lancers are prodigies who decide that in a dangerous cluster, the best defense is an overwhelming offense. Did I mention that some remnants are guns? Lancers push the limits of their weaponry and their own capacities with them. They get advantage on initiative rolls, and they can make deadly first strikes with a remnant in hand. Shapers, on the other hand, devote themselves to pushing the boundaries of celestial technology itself. They have a unique ability to manipulate livestone, a celestial invention that is rock-like in its final form, but actually a fluid material. With the aid of special Sankara remnants, Shapers can use this power to build a quick bridge or entomb their enemies. The fourth class is the Ranger. And if I'm being honest, this is the one that I am most excited to talk about, because this is the only class that lets you go adventuring with a giant, genetically engineered sapient frog. Back on Earth, even before the Ark ships, the humans of Exodus got very into genetic engineering and turned to the animals around them for potential partners, tools, or servants. They created a number of these awakened species and brought them with them to the stars. Now, awakened animals live amongst humans almost everywhere, communicating mostly non-verbally, independent of their former roles, but with an uneasy status in wider human society. Rangers are generally nomads. They've looked at human society and at their awakened friends, and they know pretty clearly where they'd rather be. Instead of choosing an archetype, a ranger acquires animal companions, forming lifelong bonds that bring them almost a shared mind, and as they gather more companions, can become a powerful, unified fighting force. They also use limited neural induction to bolster their hunting packs with selected remnants like drones. The initial options for a ranger's awakened companion are the awakened boar, highly intelligent; the awakened canine, part dog, part wolf, and 100% best friend; the awakened raven, providing some obvious advantages to the rangers they accompany; and the awakened frog, who we have already mentioned, a heavily altered amphibian who excels in hostile environments and who is also my new best friend. Finally, as rangers gain constellation levels, they can acquire additional awakened allies, including greater companions. The awakened bear, who comes complete with a hive of killer bees that can poison or heal, and the awakened tiger, whose advantages, again, probably speak for themselves. Once players create their characters, they're ready to begin their adventures, but there's a lot to encounter out there. Numerous factions have explored, colonized, transformed, and waged war across the cluster in these many, many thousands of years. The travelers, explorers, treasure hunters, archaeologists, and more, many travelers have now also formed dynasties. They seek to recover forgotten secrets and technology to improve human lives and colonies. Ideally, a character's dynasty will come with assets and with enemies, but is their best way to get access to ships and additional resources. Humans, not overall doing great. The recently arrived humans are generally limited to insignificant worlds on the fringes of space and ignored by the powerful celestial dominions, if they're lucky. Players' specific homeworlds have one essential quality. They are home to a character's anchor. An anchor is the person a traveler wants to get home to. The spouse, best friend, mentor, or child that keeps them going. Thanks to time dilation, after each exodus, players will return to find out what's changed on their homeworlds and in their homes. Remnants. The technology that travelers hope will change their homeworld for the better comes from the remnants. These are pieces of technology lost to time, ranging from handheld tools to ancient war machines. Remnants have strange and mysterious powers, which the travelers seek to claim and the Celestials seek to control. Each contains the possibility for great advancement or destruction. Changelings. Millennia of genetic engineering by the Celestials has resulted in a wide variety of intelligent humanoid species that appear bizarre and alien to humans. They're known as changelings, and though designed by the Celestials to serve as warriors and workers, many have fled to form their own isolated societies. The Elohim. Not all the technology in the cluster is celestial. At some point in its history, the cluster was home to the Elohim, a hyper-advanced civilization that created gateways between the stars. These beings themselves have disappeared, but they left behind them their inventions and the laws that must be followed to use them. And of course, Celestials. These strange creatures were once human, but they've had tens of thousands of years to claim the best planets, genetically engineer themselves, go to war, make peace, do it all again, establish potent political dominions, and create wondrous technology. Thanks to Renegade for letting us take a look at the player options and a little of the lore of the Exodus role-playing game. And thank you for watching. You can learn even more about the world of Exodus in the Exodus Traveler's Handbook and the Creature Catalog, coming to a shop near you this August. I'm Amy Dallen at Good Time Society, and I will never be happy until I have a best friend who is a giant awakened frog.